bachos. Yeah, bachos. Yeah, bachos.
This is AgriSciences Matriculants and welcome to my YouTube channel. The graph below shows the price and the quantities in a market. Okay, so we have this letter A, which represent a what curve, and also the letter B that represent a what curve, and there can only be two curves, the demand curve and the supply curve. So what we need to determine here is that which one is the demand curve and which one is the supply curve, right? And also there is point C. Point C shows us the point of intersection of the demand curve and the supply curve, and that point of intersection where the demand curve meets the supply curve, or where the demand curve intersects with the where the demand curve intersects with the supply curve, that is the market equilibrium. Okay, that is the market equilibrium. That's where the that's where the amount supplied is equal to the amount demanded, right? There is no shortages, there is no surplus at point C, right? And there is also D and E. D and E, D or E can represent either shortage or surplus. Okay, let's talk about the curves, our curves. We have the demand curve and the supply curve. Okay, so the one that starts from here, the one that starts from the left going to the right, increasing, that is the supply curve. Okay, it starts from the left going to the right and it is going upwards, right? That is the supply curve. And the one that starts from the left going to the right, decreasing, going downwards, that's the demand curve. Okay, let's recap. The one that starts from the left going to the right, going upward, that's the supply curve. And the one that starts from the left going to the right, going downward, decreasing, that's the demand curve. On our y-axis, this here, okay, this part here, so we have the price. This P represent the price. So the price can be a specific amount, can be the specific amount, right? So they can give you an amount, or okay, at the market equilibrium the price is 15 rand, for example. Okay, that's the price which the buyers were able to buy that those specific product. Okay, the amount the buyers were willing to buy those specific products, or the amount the sellers were willing to sell those specific products, okay, or produce. Then here on our x-axis we have the quantity, which is the quantity of products that was supplied and demanded, right? Supplied and demanded, right? This is section B, question 2. 2.1. The diagram below shows the different agricultural marketing systems. Okay, so we have A, C, and B. But before we can start reading this diagram, let's try and define what do we mean by saying free marketing. What do we mean by controlled marketing and cooperative marketing? So let's start with the free marketing. Free marketing is a form of agricultural marketing where producers sell products at any price without any restrictions or controls. That is free marketing. Let's look at cooperative marketing. Cooperative marketing is the association of two or more independent groups of people working together to meet their mutual economic, social, and cultural needs. They promote their products with a combined marketing effort and shared resources or pooled resources, which enables even flow of products to the market. This results in lower costs and better prices for producers. Right. Then controlled marketing. Controlled marketing is a marketing system where the state or the authorities regulate prices of agricultural products to control supply and demand, which also guarantees prices and protects producers from very low prices. Okay? It's a marketing system where the state or the authorities regulate prices of agricultural products to control supply and demand, which also guarantees prices and protects producers from very low prices. Okay, so now we know how to define these three terminologies. Then let's look at the diagram. So in this diagram, we have agricultural marketing systems. And the minute we hear about agricultural marketing systems, we expect to be dealing with the free marketing system, the cooperative marketing system, and the controlled marketing system. These three, okay? Let's look at letter A. Letter A, members working together voluntarily to reach a common goal. B, farmers can sell when and where they want at the highest possible price. C, government decides on prices of agricultural products such as wheat in order to stabilize the prices. Okay, 2.1.1, identify agricultural marketing systems A, B, and C represented in the diagram above. So A, that's what? A, that's cooperative marketing. Okay, members working together voluntarily to reach a common goal. Voluntarily so to reach a common goal. Okay. Association of two or more independent groups of people working together to meet their mutual economic, social, and cultural needs, right? To promote their products with a combined marketing effort and pooled resources or shared resources, which enables even flow of products to the market. Right, so that means we are confident that letter A, that's cooperative marketing, right? B, farmers can sell when and where they want at the highest possible price. And this is free marketing, which is a form of agricultural marketing where producers sell products at any price without any restrictions or controls. C, government decides on prices of agricultural products such as wheat in order to stabilize the prices. Okay, so this is controlled marketing. Okay, which is a marketing system where the state, which is the government, right? A marketing system where the state or the authorities regulate prices of agricultural products to control supply and demand, which also guarantees prices and protects producers from very low prices. Okay, and which means, or the letter C, that's controlled marketing. 2.1.2 state 2 principles of marketing system A. Okay, the principles of cooperative marketing. Okay, so we have democratic membership control. We have membership is voluntary. Okay, we have autonomy and independence, right? But here they want two, so that means we can take democratic membership control and membership is voluntary, right? 2.1.3 state one disadvantage of marketing system B, which is free marketing. The disadvantage of marketing system B, the free marketing system. It has price fluctuations. Okay, there is greater fluctuations in prices. Okay, there is less bargaining power. There is less bargaining power. There is higher risk involved, right? There is too much competition. But here we want one disadvantage. That means we can take less bargaining power or limited bargaining power, or we can say price fluctuation. There is greater price fluctuations, or there is high price fluctuations, right? 2.1.4 state one benefit of marketing system A to the members. Okay, the benefit of marketing system A to the members. That means they want the benefits of, only one benefit. Okay, one benefit of cooperative marketing system to the members. Okay, so members enjoy economies of scale and more bargaining power. Okay, which is point number 4 here. Economies of scale through pooling system. Okay, economies of scale, they enjoy economies of scale through pooling system, right? There is better bargaining power, which is point number 3. There is better bargaining power than individual farmers. I agree these farmers, they are grouped. I agree this is an association of two or more independent groups of people working together to meet their mutual economic, social, and cultural needs. Okay, to promote their products with a combined marketing effort and shared or pooled resources, which enables even flow of products to the market, right? So because they are groups of because they are a group of farmers, those group of farmers, they're able to bargain, they are able to negotiate prices with the customers because they are more. Okay, the more the farmers, the better, because they are able to negotiate, they are able to take a stand. Or okay, this produce we are selling it for 15 rand and that's it. Even if the customers can try to negotiate, but they will have an advantage because they are more. Okay, they are more, so they are able to convince the customers, or okay, we we can negotiate. Okay, we can negotiate the prices, so there is better bargaining power compared to the individual farmers, because individual farmers, there's only one farmer. When the customers they when customers come to you as a farmer and they say, okay, but can we negotiate the prices? So it can be difficult to negotiate the prices with the customers if you are alone. But if there is group of farmers, we can take a stand. We can try and negotiate. We can back up each other. Then we can win the negotiation with the customers. That's why we say better bargaining power than individual farmers. All right. Another one is risk is shared by all members, right? Okay, let's move on.
Your dad built a house at 30. You're renting at 30. Same effort, new economy. Your mom raised 3 kids without a degree. You have a degree and 3 side hustles just to survive. They bought groceries for a week with 1 day's pay. You work 2 jobs to fill half the cart. This isn't about who's working harder. It's about how much the game has changed. Stop comparing your progress to theirs. They played in the rookie mode. You're an expert. With inflation, digital pressure, and a world that never sleeps, you didn't fall behind. The starting line moved, the rules shifted, and you're still in the game. So stop the guilt, stop the shame. You're not too late. You're building under pressure they never had to face. Keep going. You're not broken. You're just building in a different world.
1. Identify curves A and B in the graph above. Identify curves A and B in the graph above. Right. So, curve A, that's the demand curve. Okay, is the one that goes downward from the left to the right, goes downward. Then with letter B, we have the supply curve, is the one that goes from the left to the right, it goes upward. Right. 2.2.2, give the economic term for point C. Point C, that's the market equilibrium. That is the market equilibrium. The market equilibrium, that's the point at which market supply equals to market demand. That's where the supply and the demand curves intersect on a market equilibrium graph. Okay, so that's point C, that's the market equilibrium. And also don't confuse the market equilibrium with the equilibrium price. This is the market equilibrium. Okay, so if they say the equilibrium price, this is the equilibrium price. Okay, the equilibrium price is the price of a product at the point of equilibrium where demand equals supply. Okay, so that's the price at which the quantity of a product in supply equals the quantity of a product in demand. Right, so you must be able to differentiate between that, and you should not confuse the two terms. 2.2.3. Identify the situation at the market illustrated by D and E. As we can see, we have D here above the market equilibrium, and we have E here below the market equilibrium. Right. Study guide for the DBE. Right. So we have the surplus and shortage. Right here we are trying to see how does the surplus and the shortage happen. Right. So we have the surplus. A surplus occurs when production is above the equilibrium point. This often occurs if the floor price is set above the equilibrium price. Right, so that a surplus occurs when the production is above the equilibrium point. This is the equilibrium point. When the production is above equilibrium point, we'll have the surplus. A shortage occurs when the production is below the equilibrium point. This often occurs if the ceiling price is set below the equilibrium price. Okay, a shortage occurs below the equilibrium point. This is the equilibrium point, which is the market equilibrium, so it occurs below the equilibrium point. That's the shortage. Okay, let's start with the surplus. Surplus and shortage represented in graphs. Okay, so with the surplus, we're going to draw a line here. Okay, I don't have something to draw a line, but we can see if we draw a line here, right? So we can see, okay, we have point here and point here, and this point here is on the demand curve. Okay, remember this is the demand curve. That means that the one that has a blue color, that's the demand curve. Okay, we have a point on the demand curve, and we have the point on the supply curve. The supply curve is the one that is red in color, right? Okay, right. So which means what, at a specific price, let's say this price is 50 rand, right? At a specific price, we have the quantity demanded at this point, and we have the quantity supplied at this point, right? Remember, on our x-axis, that's the quantity that is supplied and demanded, right? So on this point, because this is the demand curve, that means what is going to give us the quantity demanded, right? It's going down there. Okay, so let's say maybe here we demanded 200 bags of potatoes, right? That's 200 quantities of tomatoes demanded. Okay, now let's look at this point on the supply curve, right? So on the supply curve, we have this point, okay, still at 50 rand. We do a line here, okay. At this point, there is quantity supplied, right? So that means, sorry, the quantity supplied here, let's say we supplied 300 bags of potatoes, okay. We supplied 300 quantities of potatoes, right? So that means, sorry, we were able to supply 300 bags and here we demanded 200 bags. We demanded 200 bags. Here we supplied 300 bags of potatoes. That means we have a surplus because the quantity supplied is greater than the quantity demanded. Right. That is the surplus. And with the excess demand, we're going to put a line 2 right here. So let's say the price here, that's 20 rand. Okay. Still for the bags of potatoes, right? So with 20 rand, we're going to make a line here. So we have a point on the supply curve and a point on the demand curve. Remember, with the surplus, the points were above the market equilibrium. But here, the points are below the market equilibrium with the shortage, right? So let's say the price is 20 rand, then we have the point here on the supply curve and the point here on the demand curve. Right. If you can see, here we started with the demand curve, but here we start with a supply curve. You can notice the differences. Okay, so we have the point on the supply curve and the point on the demand curve. Right, so let's say here on the supply curve, we supplied 200 bags of potatoes. Okay, that's the quantity supplied. That's 300 bags of potatoes, right? Supplied. Then on the demand curve, this blue line, on this point, we have the quantity demanded. Okay, so let's say the consumers demanded 300 bags of potatoes. Okay, go here. Right, that means that the quantity demanded is greater than the quantity supplied because we demanded 300 bags of potatoes, but the farmers were able, or the producers were able to supply only 200, resulting in shortages. Okay, to make it to be in a simplified form, the surplus is above the market equilibrium. Okay, the shortage is below the market equilibrium. Okay, the market equilibrium is at the center, right? So the surplus, that's the quantity supplied, exceeds the quantity demanded. Shortage, that's the quantity supplied, is less than the quantity demanded. That's the shortage. Shortage, that's the quantity supplied is less than the quantity demanded. Right. Also here, that's the same thing. We are simplifying. Right. Here we have the surplus. That's the surplus. It is above the market equilibrium. This is the market equilibrium. The shortage is below the market equilibrium. Okay, that is the surplus and the shortage. Right. Identify the situation at the market illustrated by D and E. Okay, so D, that's a surplus. That's a surplus. Okay, it is above the market equilibrium. E, that is a shortage. It is below the market equilibrium. Okay. 2.2.4 explain the relationship between the price and curves A and B indicated in the graph, which means they want the explanation of the relationship between the price, the demand, and the supply. Okay, so the higher the price, the higher the quantity supplied, and the lower the quantities demanded. Or the lower the price, the lower the quantity supplied, and the higher the quantities demanded. Right. The same thing that is written here: the higher the price, the higher the higher the supply, the lower the demand, or the lower the price, the lower the supply, and the higher the demand. Okay. But you need to remember we are starting with the price when we explain the relationship between the price, the demand, and the supply. We always start with the price. You cannot start with the demand or supply. First thing, we should indicate whether our price is high or low. Okay? Which means where we start like this: the higher the price, the higher the quantity supplied, and the lower the quantities demanded. Or the lower the price, the lower the quantity supplied, and the higher the quantities demanded. That's how it should be. 2.3. The legislative and regulatory framework controls the marketing of agricultural products. Legislation intends to protect both producers and consumers. 2.3.1. State two roles of legislation for the effective marketing of agricultural products. The two roles of legislation in the marketing of agricultural products. It promotes a fair, accessible, and sustainable marketplace. It prevents unfair marketing and business practices. It ensures that product information is given in simple language. It controls the sales of certain agricultural products. It ensures that products comply with set standards in terms of produce itself and packaging. It sets and maintains national standards at processing sites. So we can choose any of those points. Right. Others, we can say it promotes agricultural products safely, it regulates market agents and improve their functioning. Yeah, any of those. Then yeah, we should take 2 from those points. 2.3.2. State 2 factors that hamper the marketing of agricultural products: poor road infrastructure and perishability. Poor road infrastructure and perishability or spoilage. The other one you can say seasonal fluctuations, or wide distribution of production areas.
They copied your product? So what? Let them copy the logo. Let them mimic your colors. Let them repackage your offer like they invented them. Because what they can't copy is you. They can't steal the 2 a.m. idea you woke up to write down. They can't fake the energy you pour into every client call. They don't have your taste, your timing, your guts, and they'll never touch your vision. You see, products can be copied, but presence can't. You're not just selling something, you are the brand. You're the reason it works. You're the touch behind the details that no one notices until they feel the difference. Let them replicate. You'll keep innovating. Let them watch. You'll keep moving. They might match your features, but they'll never match your fire. You're not in this to imitate. You're in this to dominate.
2.4. The picture below illustrates a function of agricultural marketing. As you can see on this picture, we have milk. This milk goes through the transformation process or the value adding process, and it is converted into ice cream and cheese. Right. So that means that there's something that has happened so that we can be able to convert milk into ice cream or convert milk into cheese. What is that thing that has happened, right? There is marketing function that is responsible for this. Okay. And that is processing. Okay. So processing, that is a function of agricultural marketing where products are transformed from their raw state to a more usable form for the consumer. So this processing increases value, it prevents oversupply of products, it prolongs shelf life, and it reduces waste. Right. As you can see, the milk, it is in a raw form because the milk comes from a cow. It is still in its raw form. Okay? So, cheese, it is not in a raw form. Cheese has been processed. Cheese and ice cream, they are the result of the transformation process. The transformation process, which included the milk being transformed into the final products, which is the cheese and the ice cream. Okay, that means that the input was the milk, then the transformation process occurred, which is the value adding process. Okay, why am I saying that's the value adding process? Because this processing thing increases the value of this milk, turning that milk into a cheese, because after turning that milk into a cheese, that makes the product more profitable, because cheese, if you look at the price of cheese compared to milk, the price of cheese is greater than the price of milk, right? So it prevents oversupply of products, it prolongs shelf life. Okay, cheese can last longer. Okay, and when it is stored in cool conditions, and yeah, so it reduces also waste. Okay, so that's the milk going through the transformation process so that we can have the outputs, that's the cheese and the ice cream. That is the value adding process. That's the value adding process because cheese is going to be more expensive than the milk. because of the value that is added into those final products. Okay, right. 2.4.1 identify the agricultural marketing function depicted in the picture above. That's processing. 2.4.2 state two advantages of the marketing function identified in question 2.4.1. Two advantages of processing. It creates job opportunities. It increases the value of the product. Okay, it increases the value of the product or adds value to the product, increases shelf life, avoids oversupply, or reduce wastage of excess produce. Right. Two 2.4.3 state two other main agricultural marketing functions not shown in the picture above. Two other main functions of agricultural marketing. So we have transportation, storage, and packaging. 2.5, it is important for entrepreneurs to have good qualities to be able to run a business successfully. 2.5.1 distinguish between an entrepreneur and entrepreneurship. Okay, an entrepreneur. An entrepreneur is an individual who has a business idea and takes a risk to implement that idea into a business and makes a profit, and he or she makes a profit out of that business. So it's an individual who has a business idea and takes a risk to implement that idea into a business, and he or she makes a profit out of that business. Or we can say that's the person who exercises an initiative by taking advantage of a business opportunity. That is still right. Or we can say it's a person who identifies a business opportunity and takes a risk to convert an idea into a profitable business. Okay? Entrepreneurship, that is the process. That is the process of converting an idea by organizing resources to start and grow a new profitable business. Or that is the process of discovering, evaluating, and exploiting new business opportunities. Okay? Entrepreneurship is the practice of starting, running, and growing a business set up by an entrepreneur, right? So there is the difference between entrepreneur and entrepreneurship. Okay, an entrepreneur is a person. Is a person who sees a business idea and takes the opportunity with its risk to make a profitable business. But entrepreneurship is the process of discovering, evaluating, and exploiting new business opportunities, or that's the practice of starting, okay, running and growing a business set up by an entrepreneur. Okay, that is the process. Okay, That is the process of converting an idea by organizing resources to start and grow a new profitable business. That is entrepreneurship. 2.5.2 identify the success factors below that will match each of the statements A and B. So we have appreciation, we have punctuality, we have leadership, we have motivation, and we have confidence. Letter A, the entrepreneur sets standards and executes the roles for the success of the business. Right? So this entrepreneur sets the standards and executes the roles for the success of the business. That means, sorry, this entrepreneur gives the direction of how things should be done. He sets the standards. He sets the tone. He guides. He guides the team. Okay. He sets the standard. Or okay, this is the direction. Okay, this is how we should go. This is how things should go. And execute the roles for the success of the business. Okay, so that means this cannot be appreciation. No, this cannot be punctuality. Punctuality is about being on time, having time management, something like that. It cannot be motivation. No, it cannot be confidence. No. So this is leadership. Okay. This entrepreneur sets the standards and executes the roles for the success of the business. This is leadership. Letter B, the entrepreneur is on time for duty on a daily basis. This person is always on time. He avoids, or he or she avoids being late, okay, for meetings or for classes, all right? So that person is considered to be punctual because he's always on time, okay? So this is punctuality. The entrepreneur is punctual. The entrepreneur is on time for duty on a daily basis. That is punctuality. An individual who is responsible and is always on time, that means that individual is considered to have time management skills. Okay, so that is punctuality. 2.6 indicate the components of the SWOT analysis represented by each of the statements. Right? So SWOT analysis is an effective strategic planning tool that evaluates a business by identifying strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. That is what is meant by the SWOT. The S stands for the strengths, W stands for weaknesses, O stands for opportunities, and T stands for the threats. Right. And the strengths, these are the internal factors of a SWOT analysis that identifies characteristics of a business that give it an advantage and lead to success. Weaknesses, that is an internal factors of a SWOT analysis that identifies characteristics of a business that need improving to avoid losing a profit. So that needs an improvement. Okay, that's the internal factors of a SWOT analysis that identifies characteristics of a business that needs an improvement to avoid losing a profit. Okay, so that's the areas which the business has to improve. The business has to improve these weaknesses, okay, so that they can avoid losing a profit. So opportunities, those are the external. They are from the outside environment, right? They don't occur in um, the internal environment of the organization. So they occur outside of the organization, external environment. That is the opportunities. So that is the external factors of a SWOT analysis that identifies favorable elements in the environment that can benefit the business. Threats, these are external factors of a SWOT analysis that identifies negative elements that may form obstacles to business success, that might disturb the business from succeeding, right? So you can see, okay, the strengths and the weaknesses, they're internal. They are from the internal business environment. This is what is happening inside the business, okay, inside the farming business. But the opportunities and the threats, they are from the external environment. They are from outside, okay, outside, which means that we don't have control of what is happening outside, which means that we cannot have control of the opportunities, cannot have control of the threats. But with opportunities, we can take advantage of the opportunities that occurs outside. We can take advantage of the opportunities. With the threats, we can try and mitigate the risk that is coming up with the threats. Okay, but with strengths, the strengths and weaknesses, these are the things that originate inside, okay, internally, okay, in our farming business. Okay, the strengths, for example, can be our laborers, our employees. Let's say maybe our employees has doctorate, maybe they have PhD, they are talented, they have the skills, they can drive the tractors, maybe they have code 14, okay, maybe they can drive tractors, they can drive the trucks, they can operate the computers, they are advanced, they are well advanced with technological innovation, meaning they can help the business to grow. That is a strength. Maybe we have a harvester machine that can harvest for us, meaning we don't have to hire more laborers during the harvesting season. That is the strength of the business. Okay, the weakness is, okay, the weakness is maybe maybe let's say our machinery is not efficient, okay, reducing thus the machinery reduces the productivity. Okay, maybe let's say maybe we have outdated computers and the staff members are unable to produce an effective productive work because of the computers that are slow, they are outdated, or maybe the 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 tractor is not functioning well. Okay, yeah, maybe the tractor is not functioning well. That means that we cannot cultivate the land, or we cannot plot the land clearly. Okay, so that is the weakness. And to improve that weakness, that means we have to buy advanced machinery tractor, all right, that can be able to perform those tasks, right? And that is it with the strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Okay, opportunities. I said that's what. Oh, okay. Then with opportunities, this can be, let's say, maybe there is um, investors that want to invest in our farming business, okay? And investors, like we know, investors, when they invest in our business, they're going to enable us to expand. That means we can be able to fund more projects. Maybe we can extend by buying more tractors, we can buy more land, then we can improve our production. Maybe we can also build more stores, more supermarkets, okay, if we have businesses. Okay, so investors can be the opportunities, contract with investors. Eh? No, yeah, investors and contract with other retailers. Yes, that means sorry, we can be able to advance and supply our produce to a broader market. A contract with the retailers can be one of the opportunities. Okay, then the threats can be something like, let's say, um, field fires, natural field fires. For example, let's say we planted, um, which is environmental factors. Ne? Let's say maybe we planted some crops and there is a threat from the environment that, okay, maybe next week the temperature is going to rise and it is going to be hot. That means there is a possibility that there can be wildfires because of the hot temperatures. Okay, uh, natural fires, they can occur, all right? Or maybe it can be because of legislation, change in legislation that can hinder our business or um, can restrict our business from maybe expanding. Yeah, so it can be some of the things that will have a negative impact on our business. That is the threats. Maybe the competitors, they're getting advanced than us, right? Gaining more gaining more market share than us. So it can be an external negative things that might happen, right? So that's SWOT analysis. Let's start with 2.1. Increased competition from other producers. That is what I was talking about. Increased competition from other producers. That is an external thing, and this is negative because competition, that means those competitors are going to take our market share. Okay, they're going to take some of our customers, they're going to take the market share. Okay, so that means this is a threat, external, and it is negative. That is a threat. 2.6.2, having outdated and inefficient machinery. Okay, that is what I was talking about. Maybe we have outdated computer software, or maybe we have outdated computers or laptops. Then that means our employees are unable to make arrangements with the retailer, see, because of that outdated computer. Maybe it is slow. I get it. So that means they will have to spend more hours trying to send an email on that old computer, or maybe the tractor is not moving. Okay, it's not performing well. Sorry, it's not performing well. So that thing can hinder the progress in our farm. So we want our machinery to be efficient, okay, in performing tasks. If we have a tractor, the tractor has to be able to plot the land so that we can be able to cultivate the land successfully. If the tractor is not efficient, if the tractor is not efficient, then that means we will have a problem. Okay, that means we'll have to buy another tractor. And a tractor can be inefficient because of depreciation. Okay, because a machine loses value with time. If we bought this tractor, let's say we bought this tractor 15 years ago. Okay, so that means we need to replace it with the new tractors, because they also improve the tractors as the time goes by. Okay, so that means the tractor that we bought 15 years ago will not be efficient compared to the tractor that is sold now in 2025, or that will be sold in 2026 or 2027, because the technology improves with time. Okay, that means we will have to buy another one. That is the weakness, and we have to improve. So if we want to improve, we'll have to buy new tractors, or we can buy new laptops or computers for our employees or our laborers, right? So having skilled workforce, that's 2.6.3. Having skilled workforce, let's say maybe employees have doctorate in farming, doctorate in animal science, doctorate in plant science. Okay, maybe they have licenses for code 14, which means they can be able to drive the trucks, can be able to drive the tractors. They can be that is a strength. Okay, that is a strength, because our employees are talented and they are skilled, right? Which is what we want. We want the employees that are efficient in performing tasks. We want them to be skilled, we want them to be talented. That is the strength. 2.6.4, newly introduced technology that increases farm efficiency is coming soon. Okay, this is an opportunity. Let's say maybe there is a tractor that will be driverless. Okay, that means we don't need to hire a driver to drive that tractor. That means that tractor will just press a button and that tractor will go and plot the land by its own, okay, without any supervision, because it will be driven by the that's FSD. Yeah, I think that's FSD. So it is able to be productive by its own without a driver. So it will just plot the land, then we will be able to cultivate using the driverless tractor. Okay, so yeah, that's something that is worth exciting. A driverless tractor. Imagine a tractor that doesn't need a driver. You just press a button, then it will just do your work. And yeah, that's what an opportunity will be like.
Hi scholars, so today we'll be discussing the SWOT analysis. A SWOT analysis is used when you want to start a business and you want to analyze whether that is a good business to go into or not. Planning, it's one of the things that go into your business plan.
What does the acronym SWOT stand for? The S stands for strengths, the W stands for weaknesses, the O opportunities, and the T is threat. So normally it's drawn up this way, right? We'll have our strengths on this side, weaknesses on the other side, opportunities on this side, and threats. Strengths are all the things that set your business apart from the competition. So, strengths will be all the good things that you are good at or your business is good at. For example, let's say you've got good communication skills, you're able to give good customer service, your products are quality products, and you run promotions from time to time to keep customers interested. Weaknesses are the things that make customers prefer competitors over you. Weaknesses are things that push customers away. So these are things that you're not so good at. Let's say, for example, you are not good at giving customer service. You fight with your customers. You're rude to your customers. You don't have a reliable opening and closing time. Sometimes you open at this time, sometimes you open at that other time. So when customers really need something, you'd be the last person they'd come to because they don't actually know your working hours. Other weaknesses are things such as selling goods that are not so fresh or expired goods. Also giving your customers short change. Weaknesses are bad for business. However, they are not the end all and be all because they are within your control. So meaning that you can still change them. When you change them, you can even take them over to the other side and they become what? Strengths. Opportunities are things that are external, so you don't create opportunities. Opportunities come up, and what you do is you take them up. For example, you start a business in an area where that business does not exist, so it's an opportunity for you to be the only person selling that stuff, so there's no competition. Another example is getting funding from government. Let's say government is funding 10 entrepreneurs to start their own businesses. So what do? You apply for the funding and then you get it. So it is not an opportunity that you created, or it's not opportunities that you created, but it's opportunities that you took up to improve your business. Threats are things that can potentially jeopardize your business or end your business. So these are really bad things that are not even within your control. For example, we are going through such a crisis, an electricity crisis in our country called load shedding. So load shedding is not within our control. Natural disasters are not within our control. Looting, price hike.
2.7. A business plan is a document that describes a business that a farmer wants to start, its goals and objectives. So a business plan is a document that describes a business that a farmer wants to start. So it outlines its goals and objectives. So that means it outlines the goals and objectives of the business, the goals and the strategic objectives of the business. That is a business plan. 2.7.1. Name 2 components that should be included in a good business plan. 2 components to be included in a good business plan. So a business plan should have what? Should have a title page, should have SWOT analysis, it should have a financial plan. Right, so they want 2. We have the title page. You can choose from the title page, the financial plan, and the SWOT analysis. Any of those 2. 2.7.2 give 1 reason for drawing up a business plan. Why are we drawing up a business plan? Okay, we are drawing up a business plan to foresee problems, right? To foresee problems that might occur in the future, right? To test the feasibility of the business, okay? To test the feasibility of the business, or to test the economic viability of the business, right? So to test the feasibility of the business, so we are trying to determine, okay, will this business be able to survive in the economy? Will it be competitive? Okay, will it make a profit or revenue? Okay, so we are trying to see, will it survive? So we test the feasibility of the business, right? Other reasons to determine the financial needs of the business, right? Or we can draw up a business plan to secure funding, right? To secure a funding. So we have other points here to guide daily operations, right? To outline the roles and responsibilities of individuals involved, right? Mapping out objectives or goals, right? Yeah. So, but here they want one, so you can say to secure funding or to test the feasibility of the business or the economic viability of the business or to determine financial needs of the business.